Good morning. How are you this morning, Rodney?
It is wonderful. How are you doing? Happy Monday to you. How you doing, Nina?
Happy Monday to you. I'm doing great. I'm doing just great and want to welcome all of you that are joining us from all over the country. We're so glad to have you with us. I am
Yes.
super excited about what we're talking about today because I haven't been to a movie in, frankly, I can't remember when. It's been a long time.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
this week I have tickets to go see the movie excuse me, that has the whole country abuzz, and,
Yes. Yes.
that is Sound of Freedom.
That's right. A
Have you
great
seen it
feature
yet,
film
Rodney?
company. I have not seen it yet, but I am so excited to go
Yeah.
get the tickets. They have got an incredible marketing concept where they're
Mhm.
encouraging people to buy their friends tickets or someone who, hasn't seen a movie. And what a great gift to go see a powerful movie. And good morning,
Mhm.
Jacqueline,
Mhm.
Jacqueline. Blues Clues on with us, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, oh, and looks like Blues has seen the movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's
Says it was a
awesome.
very well
That's
done
really awesome.
film. And happy
Mhm,
Monday to you,
mhm.
Happy Bergie. We're glad you're here. And Carrie, glad to have you here this morning, and Jacqueline. Yeah, this is so
Mm.
exciting. I did a little bit of research yesterday and wrote down some things that I thought were just so amazing and important. But let's first get down to what is
Mhm,
this movie about? Now, I haven't seen it, but I've done the research and I've listened to lots of interviews with the principal people who are involved in the movie, both the actors and the people that the actors portray. And literally, it is about Tim Ballard, how he left his
mhm,
job with the Department of Homeland Security to because
mhm.
he was always in his job, he was always being sent to go
Mhm.
arrest human traffickers who were
Wow.
Americans, even if they were overseas, but
Mhm.
never did they get the children out.
Wow.
And finally, there came a day where he said,
That's
this
it.
mission isn't complete if we don't get the children out. So
That's
literally, he
right.
had to quit his job to be able to do this. And this movie covers how all of that went down, how it happened, what his wife had to say about it, and
Mhm.
then one of the operations that they did, and how they rescued the children and are still rescuing the children. And that's the other thing I'm super excited about,
Wow.
that
Wow.
it's
It's
still
amazing.
going on. Yeah, it
And
is
and, you know
amazing.
and people can actually send in donations. It is operationundergroundrailroad.org. You can send in
Yeah.
donations, and a lot of times people feel like, "Well, what can I do?" Believe it or not,
Mm.
the donations and the energy, and also just being very aware. I mean, when you start talking about human trafficking, this thing is
Mhm.
all around the world. And sometimes we have to be very aware of exactly what's happening and stay informed. And this movie, the goal is they had a push to get 2 million people to make sure that they got out into the theaters. And as you were saying, Nina, that this movie literally was number one the week, actually on their
The
release date.
day, the premiere, yes. It
Mhm.
premiered July the 4th, and I
Yep.
saw an interview with Tim Ballard and Jim Caviezel, and they
Mhm.
talked about, and the, director, Alejandro Monteverde
Mhm.
Monteverdro. Yeah, I think I
Mhm.
pronounced his name right.
Mhm.
And they were talking about how they came to choose the July 4th date. Now, in case y'all didn't know,
Wow.
July 4th weekend is like the biggest movie box office weekend
Mhm.
in the whole year.
That's right.
So if you can make it during that, then that's a miraculous, wonderful thing. But here's the thing: they were being told because the movie had already been made. It had been made
Mhm.
already for 4 years. They were having trouble finding a studio that would take it and
Mhm.
put it out there. And then finally, Angel Studios, who didn't even know about it, but God and His timing put them
Mhm.
together. Angel
That's right.
Studios said, "We're going to put it out." 90 days before the
That's right.
premiere. They still hadn't decided yet when they would try to put it out. They were being told, why don't you put it out in September, October? That's
Mm-hmm.
actually an easier time to get something out, not
Mm-hmm.
there wouldn't be much competition. And they said they kept praying about it. And the more they prayed about it, the more they realized it needed to be July the 4th. And they were told,
Mm-hmm.
that's impossible. You can't do that. You don't have enough time. It's not going to
Mm-hmm.
work. It's not going to succeed. And they
Yeah.
even had one company that said, yeah, we're not going to do it if you're going to try and put it out July the 4th because we don't like to be associated with
Yeah.
losers. And they thought it was going to be a loser film
Wow.
because it wouldn't do well at the box office. So what did God do? God made it number
That's right.
one at the box office the day it premiered on July the 4th. And y'all,
What a blessing.
yeah, I think it's meaningful too that God chose that day because that was the day that in America,
Mm-hmm.
at least, the anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And here's the link for me, which I think is
Mm-hmm.
so important and meaningful, is that when
Mm-hmm.
those men signed the Declaration of Independence, we were already a year into the
Mm-hmm.
Revolutionary
Yep.
War. And the British had
Wow.
declared if they found any who were supporting what they called treason against the king,
Mm-hmm.
then they were going to be hung as soon as they were found.
Mm-hmm.
And what did these men
That's right.
do who represented their communities all over the colonies? And they came together in a Continental Congress. They drafted the
Mm-hmm.
Declaration of Independence, and knowing that if they were caught, they would be
Mm-hmm.
hung, they signed
Wow.
their names to it.
Right.
And some of them didn't do it in a small way either. All of them were willing to have their names put out there to be known for what they were standing for in the face of great danger. And that
That's
is the
amazing.
reason I think it's so significant that this movie comes out on this day, because that's what
Mm-hmm.
we're wanting to see people do. God is raising up an army to stand against the face of evil,
Right.
people who are willing to have themselves known for standing up for this in
Mm-hmm.
the face of this evil and in the face of
Mm-hmm.
what may come back at them. Now, there's been a lot of great things said about this movie. I'm just going
Well,
to read you some of the reviews, a
mm-hmm.
little snippets from some of
Oh,
the
go for
reviews
it.
I
Go for
read.
it.
Variety magazine said Caviezel
Wow.
gives his most committed performance since The Passion of the Christ. And y'all may remember in The Passion of the
Wow.
Christ, he played Christ in that
Mm-hmm.
movie. Kathy Lee Gifford said it's the
Mm-hmm.
film of the year. The Daily Wire said it's the must-see film of the decade. Wall Street Journal said a
Wow.
box office splash. All Things Athena said, I have never witnessed so many silenced by a movie.
That's right.
Emmanuel Rinson said, best movie of the century. And Enrique Santos, president of iHeart Latino, said, the most powerful story I've ever witnessed.
Mm.
It is. There are only two movies that got an A+ rating from CinemaScore, and this
Mm-hmm.
movie is one of them. It's got
Well, see,
87% on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's got a 99 to 100%. It's kind of hovering in between there.
mm-hmm.
Audience score on Rotten
That's right.
Tomatoes. And that's something I have never seen before on Rotten Tomatoes, a 100% or even a 99% score for any
That's
movie.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Tell us more about that Pay It Forward program, Rodney, that you found out about.
it's really interesting that they are encouraging people. And I mean, when you start talking about feature films, marketing is something that separates films and creative like this, and the fact that they want people to and encouraging them to, you know, gift a ticket so you can actually buy a ticket for a friend, a loved one. Churches can get involved. They can actually really, really ramp up sales and more
Mhm.
viewership for this movie. And those are the type of things that really separate. And there was a website that you can go to that you can actually purchase the tickets. And so, and pre-sales. So they're really, what this is called is pre-sales. That means a lot. And when you're talking about big distributors getting more screens, when you could show that there is some serious interest for a film, people get really excited about it. And the fact that, you know, and there's several major organizations that have always been in the fight. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Lois Lee here in Southern California with Children of the Night, and huge organization that's been about human trafficking for many, many years. And Children of the Night, another fantastic organization. And believe it or not, I had talked with Lois Lee, Dr. Lee, and she was saying that she literally went and became part and worked with the Interpol to be a part of actually helping people. And I'm just like, wow. I mean, these things are just amazing. Good morning. Aldana says hello. Real Life says hello. And oh, wow, we even have
Elvira. Yeah,
Elvira.
thank you.
Elvira, she is all the way in from Poland, who's watching that. So wonderful. I'm so glad.
So glad to have you here. Thank you.
Amazing. So this is what it's all about. This film is just, I really believe that this thing is going to make a major mark in cinema.
You know, Rodney, you talked about the pre-sales, and I came across some a Reddit thread where theater employees were talking about this movie. And I just want to read you some of the things that they put on this Reddit thread. One theater employee said, "Every showing is almost sold out. Apparently, most people are buying their tickets on angel.com. I have no clue what that is. And it's driving us crazy because we've never heard of the website." Another person said, "I live in a small town. Our theaters are only hold about 100 people max. And we've already almost sold out each showing for the 4th on pre-sales alone." See? Another one said, "Completely sold out. GM, let's see. Wow. GM added another showtime late Saturday night." Now, this was not for Saturday night. Wow. It was by Saturday night in pre-sales. They'd already figured we're going to have to add another showing because we sold them all out already. They added another showing, and it was completely sold out by noon yesterday. It's insane. And that was before 4th of July. They were saying this. Another person said, another theater employee said, "I've never heard of this blanking movie until today when it sold out 5 times more than Indiana Jones. Why is this movie doing so well?" And another one said, "We've added as many showtimes as we possibly can, and most of them are almost sold out. Godspeed, everyone." And they said that a little sarcastically, like, you know, oh boy, our theater employees are in for a time because the theater is going to be very crowded. The last one I loved, it said, "We have just shy of 200 pre-sales for the 4th of July, and all but 4 of them are for Sound of Freedom. Can't wait." Isn't that great?
There you go. That is wonderful news. And again, very awesome, creative, and not only just great marketing, they have great actors. And I mean, and just watching the trailers, you could see the cinematic quality, the way that they shot it, the cinematography, I'm sure the music placement and everything about the film. I am very hopeful that they win awards with this film because, again, this is an entertainment. It's more informative, and they really want people to be inspired to let people know how serious this problem is, and it can happen anywhere, anytime. And it's really one of the darkest sides of society and the world. And so they're saying that human trafficking is actually surpassing revenue in the drug trades and so many other different things, and arms dealing. And I'm thinking like, oh, this is, you know, it has to be something that comes to the forefront because it's, you know, it is literally modern day slavery, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
It
really is. And it's not just sex trafficking either, although that is horrific all by itself. There's something called adrenochroming. Yeah, have you heard of that?
Mm. No, tell me.
They are, y'all. This is heartbreaking, and it's really hard to even say this,
Mhm.
but they will take girls,
Mm.
rape them so that they become pregnant. We're talking girls 11, 12, 13 years old, so that they
Mm.
become pregnant, and sometimes multiple times. Like they'll have, by the time they're 18, 3 or 4 kids,
Crazy.
and then they'll take those babies,
Mhm.
and when you are frightened, your body produces more adrenaline.
Sure.
Okay. And they take these babies and purposefully frighten them with as they become children with the fear of death, and then
Mm.
are constantly drawing their blood off and getting the adrenaline from it.
Crazy. That well,
And this is,
and
yeah, and
also
putting it on the market.
they're also talking about organ. People are
Yes.
actually being taken, and they're actually taking their organs, and I'm thinking that's a whole nother market in itself. That
Yeah.
again, people have to be very, very aware of this. And again, everybody, you're watching the This Way Network. This is a
Mhm.
chat session, and we are talking about the feature film, the blockbuster feature film, Sound of Freedom. And really, this is really a great film. Make sure you get out there, do your research, find out about it. I actually, in the comments, or actually in our chat area, I actually posted the link to the film. You can go on
Thank
YouTube
you.
and just type in Sound of Freedom, and you can actually
Mhm.
watch the
Mhm.
uh, the trailer. That is just powerful. If that doesn't want to get you into the seats at the
Mhm.
movie theater, nothing will. So very powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Rodney, there are some things that might prevent this movie from going as high as it could, and that is,
Hmm.
for one thing, there are actually some negative reviews out there,
Mhm.
if you can believe that. So,
Yeah,
there have been some
there's
attack
always
articles, yeah,
yeah.
and that are trying to associate them with QAnon and so forth,
Mhm.
and they're all using the same kind of language, which kind of tells you that it's all
Yeah,
coming from the same place. But the
right.
director of the film, someone asked him about that
Mhm.
and said, "What about these attack articles?" And he said,
Mhm.
he said, "Eagles, when they are being attacked by crows, they don't turn around and fight the
Mhm.
crow. They just keep flying
Mhm.
ever higher because eagles
That's
can
right.
handle the thin oxygen at the top of the atmosphere, but crows
Mhm.
cannot." So he said they
Amazing.
just keep flying higher, and he said that's what we intend to do, is just keep flying
I
higher.
you know what, I have to tell you, in the world of cinema and competition, like anything, anytime you're
Mhm.
doing something great, there's always gonna be people who come out and try to knock a little, knock over a couple of the spotlights. But hey, the
Yeah.
spotlight is on them, and they're doing a great thing. That, again, the film is one of these things that you can sit down and you can come away from the film with a real message in your heart and a real energy about this terrible plight that plagues
Mhm.
our world. So, and again, it is an eye-opening and an awareness film
Mhm.
where you can kind of be informed and you can think about this and say, wow. And of course, with the great organization, again, Operation Underground Railroad.org, you can make donations, be a part of
Mhm.
something good. Your smallest donations goes a long way because it can get compounded with other people and make a difference, and actually save these young people and in adults' lives too. Because when you start
Mhm.
talking about human trafficking, it goes the whole gamut of age, and it's all around the world.
I heard
Yep.
an interview with Jim Caviezel, and they were asking him,
Mhm.
"So, what is the goal with this movie?
Mhm.
What was the purpose?" And initially, what they asked him was, "How well do
Mhm.
you want this movie to do?" And he said, "Before we put it out there, we were hoping for
Mhm.
2 million uh, tickets sold. That's what we were
Mhm.
praying for." Well, they
Right.
exceeded that in the first 3 days. So they've gone much further than that now. And he said, let me tell you what our goal is for this movie and for the
Mm-hmm.
people seeing this movie all across the world. He said, our goal is that people will wake up. And he said,
Mm-hmm.
once they get a hint or a taste of freedom, you can't
Mm-hmm.
put them back to sleep. We are
Wow.
at our Concord Bridge now in 2023. This is for everything, for all the marbles for our republic.
Wow. Powerful. Also,
That's what he said. Yeah.
one of our wonderful viewers here, it was also commenting that there's 80,000 children missing, and that the organ donating or organ harvesting is booming.
Yeah.
It is really crazy. Also, Portland, Oregon is one of the largest ports for human trafficking for some strange reason. And people are saying, how come these things are not being shut down? And again, that is just more awareness that needs to happen, and more vocal people and more people standing up. And, when you see something that isn't right, sometimes a lot of people feel like, oh, I shouldn't get involved. It's not my business. I didn't have anything to do with it. But you know what? When people are in distress, if you notice something, you're better off being safe than sorry. And you never know, your tip or something could actually help save someone's life. Think about
You know,
yourself or a
yeah.
loved one being caught in that situation. You would want to have someone save them.
Think about, waking up in the morning and suddenly one of your children isn't there because they've been taken,
Mm.
and how horrific that
Yeah.
would be.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
that number, that 85,000, one of our
Mhm.
government officials testifying before Congress said that this is how
Mhm.
many children that have come across the border that our government has lost track of.
Wow.
And chances are, because they are being trafficked across the border, that's
Mhm.
what's happened to them. 85,000 children. But I'm giving an assignment to our audience right now. One of you, please look up for us how many
Mhm.
children go missing in America every year.
Oh,
Just
wow.
please look that
Yeah.
up for us and put it in the comments. We'd appreciate hearing that. I want to talk about
Mhm.
something else that one of you in the comments said. I think it was Carrie. Let me go back here and look. Yeah,
Mhm.
Carrie says, I don't know if I'm going. I don't think I can handle it. So let me tell you, Carrie,
Mhm.
I'm right there
Yeah.
with you. I am going,
Yeah.
but I
Mhm.
have concerns about this. I actually put a lot of thought into, am I going with a group? Am I going to go by myself? Because I know
Mhm.
when I see this is going to rip me up. And so, do I want to be
Yeah.
alone so I can, just have a good cry and go to the car and, and not
Mhm.
spoil everyone's good time? Or do I want to go with
Mhm.
a group so I have people to cry with and I have support? And in the end, I'm going with a group, but I'm still thinking about maybe going by myself
Mhm.
before I go with the group, just so I can get the good cry behind me and out of the way. I have a feeling I'll cry both times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Take some Kleenex.
you can never watch these type of films, or something that you
Mhm.
can be prepared. Prepare yourself that you're gonna be touched by this. And again, this is a great film.
Mhm.
And I think that there's so many other, and actually the group Angel Films, they were responsible for the film The Chosen as well. So they
Mhm.
were on that production distribution side of these things. And so it's an incredible, as we've talked in the past, Nina, there seems to be more people, and the industry is opening up for more positive
Mhm.
films that are going to be
Mhm.
informative and inspiring and things like that, and waking
Yes.
people up. It looks
Yes.
like we've got
Mhm.
some research coming in. They said, I see 460,000, Nina,
Yes.
was the number. 60.
460,000 children. Thank you, Carrie, for looking that up for us.
Mhm.
460,000 children missing every year. Every year.
Hmm.
And Carrie, this is one thing that I find myself thinking when I was thinking about, do I want to go see this movie or not? What if it just tears me up? But I kept thinking about those children and what they're
Hmm.
going through and what they still have to go through even after they get out, because healing is going to take some time and a lot of work. And
Hmm.
I thought, if there are people who literally give up the calm and the security and the peace in their own lives to go rescue these children, the least I can
Hmm.
do is go watch it and support it with my
Yeah.
money at the box office. I've already sent a donation to Operation Underground Railroad. So that's my question to all
Hmm.
of us is, what can we
Yeah.
do? What can we do?
Hmm.
That's what we should be asking ourselves. Or better yet, what is God calling me to do? Because not
Hmm.
everyone is called to go into another country or even in our own country and rescue children who have been trafficked.
Hmm.
Some might be called to be there to help those children heal afterwards.
Hmm.
Some might be called just to give awareness to a movie like this so more people are aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
And
aware
we
of that,
had
Jacqueline. The naysayers are telling us that this is a propaganda. Think about the cover ups. Yeah, there are a lot of cover-ups out there. There are some people who
well,
don't want it to get out because they're actually involved in it and they don't want people to know. Yeah.
the key
How
thing
can
is
people
again.
be against children being
Mhm.
rescued out of trafficking?
That's a good question, and and that's where that's where the rubber meets the road, because human rights around the world flat out are is at the top of everyone's minds, top of conversation, and including everything else that's going on. But the most important thing is that we stay aware, that we stay
Mhm.
vigilant, and also, keep our eyes peeled. And again, it's great films like that that educate people, inspire, and really create conversation. That this film is about
Right.
a conversation piece. People want it, and when people start asking questions, that's how things get done.
Exactly. Exactly. So I hope all of you will go watch it in the
Mhm.
little time that there is left. And y'all, if you have any influence at all with your local movie theater, the more
Mhm.
people who see this movie and sell out the theater, the more showtimes they will add, the bigger theaters
Mhm.
that they will give it, the bigger
Mhm.
rooms to watch it in, and the more theater houses will actually pick it up and distribute it. So, right now
Mhm.
in my city, I was trying to find what is the latest date where I can see this movie, and it was literally
Mhm.
just June 13th, not June, pardon me, July 13th. That was the
Mhm.
latest date that
Right.
you could get a ticket in this city for that movie.
Mm.
So, but wouldn't it be wonderful
Mhm.
if it was playing continuously through July, through the end of July, and even into August, because there was such a demand to see this
Yep.
movie. So, y'all talk it up to your churches, to your
That's
church
right.
groups, get them to come together in mass, buy out the theater, and go see it.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
ask God what He wants you to do to help with this problem.
That's right. And also students out there,
Yeah.
these are great opportunities for you to dig into it. If you're wanting to go into a particular field to make a difference in this type of thing that's happening in society, this could be a great opening, lead into that. Nina, we're going to give us a review after you watch it. Yes, thank you. AC Cruz says they're
Yes,
going
we
to send
certainly
in
will, AC.
we're going to hope, and I'm ever so hopeful that I've reached out to some of the people there at Angel Films, and hopefully we may be able to get someone on to be able to comment and talk about this film and what it really took to put
That
this
would be
thing
great.
together. Nina, we got 1 minute left. We're at that time again. Can you believe it?
It always goes so fast. Hi, Robin. We're glad you were here too. Y'all, thank you
Yeah.
so much for your participation. Thank you for coming and watching with us. And I hope you'll be at the movies with us this week when we all go
Yep,
to see The Sound of Freedom. And
that's right.
next week, maybe we'll be telling you how it was because I'll be watching
Mhm.
it on Thursday. And
Yeah.
we so look forward to being with you again. Everyone,
That's it.
be of good courage. God is with us. We are not alone.